Well, unless you live under a rock, I'm sure you've heard about the blockbuster NBA trade that happened. That involving Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, and of course the biggest name here, Jalen Hood-Schifino. Okay, all joking aside here, yes, Luka Doncic did get traded to the Lakers, Anthony Davis will now be a Dallas Maverick, and the biggest trade in recent memory has now gone down, and I guess you can make NBA 2K trades in real life happen now. Simply turn off the trade sliders and go at it. Trade Luka Doncic, trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, trade Anthony Davis, trade whoever the hell you want, and apparently you can now make it happen. Again, it sounds kind of funny, but it does happen to be true. Luka Doncic will now be a Laker, Anthony Davis will now be a Maverick, and it was confirmed by Shams Charania, who despite everyone thought got hacked, it does apparently happen to be true. And I don't know about you guys, but I for one think the weirdest part about it, especially in the year 2025, is that nobody knew a single thing about it until it actually happened. Not even Anthony Davis, not even Luka Doncic, not even LeBron James, none of them knew about it, and apparently the only two people that did know about it were General Manager Rob Pelinka of the Lakers and General Manager Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks. Apparently they're former colleagues, with Harrison working at Nike, Rob Pelinka being a former agent, and they knew each other from that. Harrison even cited his 2-decade-long relationship with Rob Pelinka, and about a month ago they started talking, with Harrison kind of joking about it, saying, would you make this kind of trade, and kind of talking about obviously trading Luka Doncic for probably Anthony Davis, and Rob Pelinka replying, interesting, maybe I would. And with Harrison then saying it just built over time over the last few weeks, and now it ultimately led to them making that trade happen, and the trade being complete. And well, if you're a Dallas Maverick fan, you're probably not too happy about it, or at least from what I've seen anyways. I mean, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis obviously a great player. Being a Laker fan myself, I can definitely contest to that. One of the best defenders in the entire league, an absolutely elite two-way player, a guy that will be an upgrade for their front court, even already having a great front court to pair with him. But they significantly shortened their timeline here, going from a 25-year-old Luka Doncic to now about a 32-year-old Anthony Davis, and one with a fairly long injury history, even though Luka Doncic is kind of already building his own injury history. But regardless, they definitely did shorten their timeline here, and their championship window, if you want to call it that. And I mean, you definitely can call it that. After all, they're coming off a trip to the NBA Finals, getting beat by the Boston Celtics, but putting up a good fight, ultimately winning the West, and appearing to have a team that's ready to compete, and ready to compete right now. And again, don't get me wrong, I think they still have that. Anthony Davis will be a good fit for their team in my opinion. They still have a chance to win an NBA championship. You know, maybe a lesser chance, maybe a better chance depending on who you ask, but no matter how you feel about it, they definitely did shorten their timeline. They went from about a 5 to 10 year window with Luka Doncic to now about a 3 to 4, maybe 5 year at best window with Anthony Davis, and that's really the top end of it too. And I think the really confusing part to me is what Nico Harrison said about it and how he feels about their team and what they're trying to do, citing that Anthony Davis fits their window better than Luka Doncic, with him mentioning their win now window with Anthony Davis and paired with Kyrie Irving. But that to me is simply not looking far ahead enough. Again, Anthony Davis is about to be 32, Kyrie Irving is about to be 33, and if we're talking about a window with them, it's probably at best a 1 to 2 year window, maybe a 3 year window, but with guys like Klay Thompson on your team too, it's really not that long of a window, and simply not looking far enough ahead if you ask me, especially when talking about a general manager. And to absolutely no surprise at all, that really confused and bamboozled Jason Kidd sitting next to him while he was talking about it, and I'll let you hear about what Nico Harrison had to say, and the reaction that Jason Kidd had to it, and really pay attention to his face here.
Physicals.
You mentioned you think this will work in the short term and the long term. Short term makes great sense. How do you see this working out well for the organization in the long term?
Well, I think the long term is the time frame. I think he fits our time frame. If you pair him with Kyrie and the rest of the guys, he fits right along with our time frame to win now and win in the future. And the future to me is 3-4 years from now. The future 10 years from now, I don't know. I don't think they probably bury me and Jay by then, or we bury ourselves.
Yes.
All right, I know there's a lot.
I don't know about you guys, but that to me looks like a guy that's really afraid and worried for his job going forward. I'm sure he's not mad about getting Anthony Davis. They could be an absolutely elite defense. They were already pretty damn good, but I know that Jason Kidd was a pretty damn big fan of Luka Doncic and had no idea he was on the trade block, had no idea he was going anywhere, or ever would be going anywhere for that fact. I mean, not only him, but even a retired Maverick, a legend, and a face of their franchise at one time, Dirk Nowitzki, was absolutely shocked by it, and you could tell by his reaction online. I'm sure he thought that Luka Doncic was pretty much untouchable in the trade, would be the face of their franchise for another decade at the bare minimum, and did not think he would be going anywhere. And I'm sure that would be the same thing for Mark Cuban. They're now former president, the former owner of their team, the guy that used to run the shots of their team, but obviously not anymore. They were pretty close from everything that we know. I can't imagine that Mark Cuban wanted to trade him, but he probably had no idea about it, and they probably did not ask him about it either. And well, if you're a Mavericks fan, I think the only silver lining here does happen to be about the reports about the conditioning of Luka Doncic, apparently being up to about 270 pounds, and maybe it might be right now as well, along with his inability, or rather refusal, to sign a new contract with their team, which actually would have been about a $345 million Supermax contract too. So if that turned out to be true, obviously better to trade him now than wait until then and simply lose him for nothing. If he didn't want to be with their team, didn't want to sign a new contract with their team, which we really don't know for sure about quite yet, then yeah, I would understand trading him, but that's gotta be a for sure thing. It can't simply be them guessing that he wouldn't sign with their team. Again, we're talking about a 25-year-old superstar here, a top 5 if not top 3 player in the entire league, and a guy that you definitely want to build your team around. And yet, Nico Harrison has taken that chance, moving on from a 25-year-old Luka Doncic, a superstar, a generational talent, and has really taken a big gamble here. Now who knows, maybe he'll end up being right about it. Maybe he knows something we don't about Luka, whether it be about the conditioning and refusing to go down in weight, staying in shape, or simply staying healthy. Maybe he'll build up an injury history and it be a career-long problem for him, whether it be about the weight or simply staying on the court, and again, maybe he knows something that we don't. Apart from that though, it's an absolutely huge generational type of gamble that not many general managers would ever be willing to make, so I guess we'll watch how it plays out for him. And with that in mind, we'll end a bit more positively about their team, as I still think they have a really good team. Now it might not be the 10-year window with Luka Doncic anymore, but they still have a really good team nonetheless. Pairing Anthony Davis with a front court of Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford, that might automatically be the best front court in the entire league, and I think I definitely would take that. Combined with a backcourt player like Kyrie Irving, has won an NBA championship, coming off a run to the NBA Finals, a great three-point shooter to space the court for them like Klay Thompson, a very versatile wing like PJ Washington, can play everywhere from small forward to power forward to center, giving them a ton of versatile options and a ton of lineup options at that. I think they'll automatically and pretty much immediately become a top 5 defense. They're already pretty close to it, but now it's a guarantee. Putting Anthony Davis in that lineup around guys like Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall, Quentin Grimes, even Dinwiddie's playing really good defense this season, and not to mention getting a good 3-and-D wing with Anthony Davis, that being Max Christie, they somehow got even better on defense. Definitely did decline offensively, a lot more will be on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving, a lot more ball handling duty, a lot more playmaking duty, a lot more shot creation, and that will be something that is now required to do for their team pretty much permanently at that. I mean, he'll probably like that in some ways, but obviously like to share the court with Luka Doncic, and they proved to be a really good pairing, but now a whole lot more will be on him. Not to mention guys like Dinwiddie off the bench, Dante Exum will get more playing time, even a guy like Jaden Hardy will get more shot creation and more playmaking duties too, so a lot to put on their backcourt. Then for Anthony Davis, he will be coming over and playing through an injury. Currently is out with an abdominal strain, being out for about a week here, maybe 2 weeks, maybe slightly longer. Could be looking at coming back after the All-Star break, much like Luka Doncic, but it will be a very different look for their team nonetheless. Likely playing more through the post, playing a lot more through Kyrie Irving, a lot more pick and roll play. Not to say they didn't already have plenty of pick and roll game in their offense, but now with Anthony Davis, that will be multiplied even further. A lot less isolation in my opinion, not going to be isolating as much without Luka Doncic, more isolation play in the post with Anthony Davis, and overall, it will be a very different look for their team. Not in a bad way, but definitely in a very different way, and it will take time to get used to. With that being said though, I still think the Mavericks have a pretty good window here. Yes, definitely a shortened window, but they still could compete for a championship, and I don't think it's the worst trade in the world for them, despite it being a really weird trade, and one that definitely did shorten their window. But with that being said, what do you guys think about it? How do you feel about the Mavericks trading away Luka Doncic and getting Anthony Davis for him in return? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.